Okay, let's get right into it. It's another cold day and I don't feel like going out and doing anything. So let's get the bare necessities. Today, we'll go with the Bang lemon drop. See how this one works out. And we're gonna go through and how to install the LED rear light and turn signals on the Ninja 650. This also works on the Z650, and again, from everything we're seeing, it's also going to work on the 2020 models that are coming out. Still haven't seen any changes in the actual bikes that would indicate anything otherwise. So what I went with was, I went with the rear black LED assembly. Again, this does also have the turn signals built into it. TST has all the different parts that you're going to need. For my turn signals I'm going to add on, I went with their pod LED signals. This will be able to mount right to the back plate for the rear tail delete that holds the license plate. And it comes with the brackets that you just screw it right to the side of the plate. So this will help for a visibility issue. When you get this though, it comes with bullet buttons on it. So what's cool with this company is they actually have all the accessories you need. Because one of the main ones you're going to need is, you're going to need the harness splitter. And what this is going to allow you to do is plug everything in the factory, and it's going to split the signals, so you're going to have the turn signals both on the integrated light, plus you'll be able to run turn signals for your separate pods or for your LEDs, or even if you just wanted to keep the factory. So what you have is your factory signal clip right here, and with the splitter harness, you literally just go through, plug the sucker in, if I can, figure out basics here, that's good. The converter plug, again, you have to have the converter plug if you're running the LED pods or any of the other turn signals that actually have the bullet button connector on the back. What we've got here are these clips, so I'm capable of going through, plugging these guys into these, like that. And then once that's plugged in, I'd be able to just plug it right into this harness splitter, and we'd call it a day. That's why it's set up that way. Now the cool part too is if you wanted to go with and just use your factory turn signals that came with the bike and you wanted to replace and put the integrated signal on here, you can do that. You just don't need to purchase the signal converters, because the factory turn signals that are already on the bike do not have those bullet buttons on it, so you don't have to mess with this. The factory turn signals that are on the bike right now will plug directly into this, but you'll still need the splitter harness. I will have all the part numbers listed also for you guys. Now, if you just wanted to put the actual integrated brake light on the bike, you don't need a splitter. You literally can just go through and plug this all in one and call it a day, and you're done. So let's throw them on the bike. Well, first, let's have some bang. Okay, let's move over to the bike. So we're going to come over to the bike, and you can see I already took a lot of it apart so I can get to everything really easy. Also went ahead and also put one of the pod lights already on. You just screw it right to the back of the actual license plate and boom. It's going to be a couple differences. It depends on which tail delete you guys actually go with, because not everyone's going to have the same tail deletes on the bike. There are different models, but for the wiring, it's all exactly the same. Because once you wire the bike up, everything comes right through the plate. The bike itself for hooking everything up is really easy. These are your turn signal plugs right here on the side. Left to right, I can never remember. We'll figure it out as we wire it. The other main plug that you're going to have is located down here. It's the only real thick block that has a plug on it. And with this one, this is what actually controls the running light for the rear light and also for the brake light. This is the plug that's going to hook up to this assembly. But since we're using this, we're going to use the splitter off of those turn signals. And this is what's going to also allow it to control here. And then with that splitter being on it, then I'll also be able to hook up the pods, and we'll have it all done. Now there's really no right or wrong for what you're going to do first. Again, if you're just going to replace the rear taillight assembly and you're going to go for that integrated one, it's really easy, guys. Not much to this. All you're going to do is go ahead and get your wires out of the way. It has a slide notch right here, and that's where it's going to slide right on in, just like that. Later on, once I bring this back up, it has the screws that go in. All you need is an 8mm socket, and that's going to be what the factory screws are actually going to be for. They just thread in right through here, and that's it. Not real hard. When you run the wiring in here, you're going to want to tuck it underneath this little latch and run it over to the side, because of the way this bracket will actually compress, at least a small air gapping on it. but you'll want to tuck it around the side because you're going to have to plug it in right here. So let's go ahead and push this down and over and put this behind this. Now when you're working with this, these two thin wires, these are going to be actually what controls the turn signals on it. Going back to why you need the adapter on these two side plugs, because that splitter is going to allow the rear new tail light to have the turn signals that are built into it operate, and then it would also allow the pods that we're also going to install work at the same time. And again, like I said, if you're going to use the factory, you can use the factory. The only difference is you still need that Y splitter harness, which the part number should be listed right around here, maybe. And you just don't need that signal converter. You can plug everything right in. So once you have that, you just got to come down here to your clip. It's just a snap-in clip. You can see the plug right here. If you have to take it out from the factory, what you need to do is you got to push down to get it out. It's one of the ones that pops up. Yeah, so getting the one main plug in here is a little bit annoying, but she's in. So we're gonna leave our turn signals right here. Yeah, don't mind all this. This is from putting LED lights on the bike. This is why they're annoying putting on a bike. So we get that now hooked up. We're gonna go ahead and run the wire in through for the, actually let's go ahead and put the Y adapters on and set all the wiring up, because I have that one pod installed, so you can see the little blue tape right here. Let's get those going. So let's go ahead, let's toss in the splitters. The splitter harness, again, easy. We're just gonna go through and plug it right in. It's just a simple snap. This one wire that pushes over here gets a little tight for when you're putting it in, but it's actually simple. It's not hard. Then the gray plug that's located also over on the side, we're gonna go ahead and plug that one in. Same deal, snap, they're now hooked up. You're gonna tuck those underneath the actual frame bar right here. And remember right now, because these screws are actually undone for the back of the bike, so it's giving me a little bit extra play to work in here to tuck everything through. Now, if you want to be semi-smart when you're doing this too, the actual black and gray plug that's located on the side for your turn signals, when you have the power on the bike before you take things off, if you want to just take like a Sharpie and put like R or L on something, that way you always know which plug is which, instead of having to do the whole experimentation of what's what. But what I'm going to do on this one is, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to plug this sucker in. Okay, so we're powering on the bike, and what I did on this is I made sure I only have one of these actually plugged in so I can confirm which one's a left, which one's a right. I'm going to hit the left turn signal. Okay, so the left turn signal is currently plugged in. Now from here, we know that my empty Y splitter is going to be my right side. So if you want, you can go ahead and mark your harness L or something like that, since we know that's actually going to be the left turn signal. Okay, so we're good on these. Now, let's go ahead and get that other pod light put in. We're going to run the wire up underneath the bottom, pop it on over. Be right back. Once I have that through, I'm just going to run the nuts. All the washers and nuts are included with this. Drop that sucker on down, pull the wire on through. Again, these little brackets right here do come in a kit. That way you can just attach them right to the back side of your actual plate holder. Again, almost any of the different rear tail deletes that you purchase are going to be useful. All this does is mount to the back of the actual screw that holds the plate in. It's nothing specialized or anything like that. So we're going to go ahead and do a quick hand tightening. We'll go through and align these up better later. Now for the actual physical wire itself, like I said, on the very bottom here, there's going to be an opening, no matter which one you have, the factory one or any of the aftermarkets. There's going to be a hole that's located in the center of this actual plate, and this is where you're going to run your wire up through. So we got that wire pulled through right here. You can see they don't go real far when they do. This is where it has to go though, because of the way this channel is set up. The white clip, again, that's on the inside there, we're going to pull that up, stick it inside it, and then we're going to put those signal converters on this while it's over here, so I can run these up and over and into the actual opening area inside here. So let's get that done. Okay, so I got that one adapter on. You can see right here. I'm going to go ahead and put the adapter for the actual signal converter onto the other one. Again, unfortunately, you don't have a lot of length that you have to work with, so what we know is this one is actually supposed to be the left side. So let's go ahead and actually plug that before I get ahead of myself and forget which wire is which. So I'm just kind of looping it a little bit of an angle right here. I'm going to come up here. I mark these plugs so I know that this harness is going to be the left side because the other one's marked for right. Yep, that's my L. So now that one's hooked up. Let's do a quick power test here. I see progress, so we're on the right side. Let's go ahead and do the next one. Okay, so we got everything put back together. What we did is we just went through and hand tightened the 4-bolt pattern right here. We went through and hand tightened the back bolts that are actually going to go through. These are going to be your 8 millimeters. Use 8 millimeter socket with an extension. Go through, tighten these in. These are 10 millimeter sockets. Tighten these in. When you do this, make sure you have no wires that are going to grip or grab underneath this plate, because this is completely flush on this part. There's a small opening that runs through here, but it's pretty much a flush setting. That's why it has a channel for the wires come up and run over to the side to kind of loop them around. So just keep that in mind when you do it. Big wall of wires, power cycle. Left side's working. Right side's working. Okay, let's clean this cluster up and we'll go through. We'll take a look at what it looks like on the back. And okay, let's see what the lights look like. There's brake light, and remember, when you have this assembly, have a friend or yourself. If you hold this down, there's a button in the back of the assembly. When you push and hold it, it shows different brake patterns. Using the turn signals now. That's it. It's a real simple upgrade to do. One of the things you do need to remember, there's one thing that can get a little bit of annoying, is there's a relay that you'd also technically need to replace. Anytime you're going over to LED from the standard bulbs, you're going to have that rapid flash pattern, and the actual relay, this is the factory one. It's actually located in the front of the bike. It's located on the left hand side, basically under the fairings of the handlebar. It's annoying to replace, so I'm not going to lie to you. You can do it without replacing all the fairings, but it's going to take, I mean, without having to remove the fairings, but it's a little chore. It's kind of annoying for the location of it. That's a video for another time, and yeah, that sucked, but it works. It's done. Progress. It's a good thing to put on. It's definitely brighter. I like being able to use the different patterns for the braking, so I think I'll leave it at that. Let's go ahead. I'm going to button this thing up. If you weren't sure how you actually put the actual molding on the bike, the molding is actually really easy if you've never done it before. If you look over on the bike, it's real simple. It's not that hard to do. Basically what you're going to end up doing is you have these slide points. So when you're taking this off, what you have to end up doing is once you remove the 2 screws, which are located right here, and you have one that's up by the seat, you take those 3 off, and all you do is basically slide it back and it'll come right off. There's no wires or anything attached on the inside of this. It's fully cosmetic. It's real easy. When you put it back on, it's just a repeat. You're going through finding your hole patterns, putting your notches back in, sliding it forward, and putting your screws back in. That's it. So, take care.